All right, so today we're going to be going over our chest day strength exercise. All right, and that's going to start off with our compound lift of the bench press. All right, there's a couple things I want you to keep in mind with the bench press. One, it's all about the positioning of your back on the bench, right? You want to be able to get power from your back, and I'll explain that as I'm doing the bench press here. And the second thing is that you want to make sure that you're using your legs as well. All right, so they call this a compound lift because it's not just using your arms and your chest to push the exercise or to push the weight up. You're using your whole body, right? So core is going to be important, the way that you press, which is why we do that warm up, right? For the back. We want to be able to feel those muscles, get those muscles in your lats engaged. So we're going to start off with getting our body into position, and then we're going to do the proper lift, all right? So, coming down onto the bench, all right, you want to make sure, I like to make sure that my eyes are level with the bar, because I don't want to reach back too far, because if I do that, that's just asking for a shoulder injury, and if it's too far forward, then I run the risk of hitting the supports here. So I don't want to do that, all right? I want to be eye level so that when I get enough chest and support from my back and everything to unload it, I can move it forward just enough to avoid the hooks here, and then it's minimal distance to put it back when I'm done. All right, so get my hands into place, all right? You'll find the grip that works best for you. I like to go with my ring finger along the first line of off the knurl here. Find the spot that works best for you. That's my best advice for finding your grip. All right, and as I'm getting ready to get into the bench, all right, before I lift off, notice how my legs, I'm pressing into the ground. I'm not out here, I'm not up on my toes, flat on the ground, and I bridge. All right, this now gets the entire core engaged. All right, engaged. I'm not lifting myself off the bench ridiculously high. I don't look like one of these guys, right? On the ground, legs engaged, pressing into the ground, generating that power up from the ground, just like I would for a squat, a deadlift, an overhead press. Connection with the ground, bridged up. All right, and then I squeeze my shoulder blades down and back, make good connection with the bench, and then we lift, move a little bit, and then we go. Notice that I'm not bouncing the bar off my chest. I'm bringing it down to about an inch, half an inch from my chest, and squeezing the pecs as I press up. And then minimal movement to re-rack. And that's your bench press, all right? Get your legs involved, get the back engaged, right? Core's engaged, the whole body is moving this weight. The more that you can incorporate the core, the back, your lower back, your glutes, all of that stuff, the more you're gonna be able to get power to lift a little bit heavier. So try that out. Let me know if you're able to get a little bit more weight in there, all right? Let's get to the next exercise. Okay, next up, we have the bent over row. I like to start with the barbell on the ground. You can start it up like you were Romanian deadlift or whatever. You can start on a rack, pick it up from there, and then hinge. But I like to get in the hinge position first and then lift it up. I feel that it gets me into allows me to get into that bent over position in a more stable way. All right, so I get up to the bar, all right, and I get into that position like I'm going to be doing a deadlift. All right, I lean a little bit more forward because I'm pulling up into like the solar plexus, right? Into the bottom of my sternum. If it's more comfortable for you, you can pull into the belly. But I like pulling up a little bit high. And notice how I kind of get a little rounding in my back. That gets me to really get into the lat a little bit more. I feel that a lot more in the center of my back when I do it that way. You don't have to do it that way. You can just do a simple row and pull back, but I'll demonstrate here in a second what I'm talking about. But get up to the bar, Hands are about shoulder width apart. And then I lift, and I don't stand up. I stay in that position, and I'm pulling right up to the solar plexus. All right, this way I feel it through the entire middle of my back. When I kind of get that little, don't emphasize it quite that much, but probably can't see it with my arms in the way, but get a little bit of a round. It really pulls the muscles in to that middle back, so you're not just feeling it in the lats, you're feeling it down the entire area of this middle back here. All right, on to the next one. All right, now we got ourselves a superset. We're going to be doing a dumbbell incline press. All right, and then we're going to put these dumbbells down, and then we're going to do a rear delt row. We're doing this for two reasons. One, we want to get the rear delts engaged, right? Two, it's a good complement to any of the pressing moves to bring the shoulders back, right? It just kind of prevents any injuries and tightness in the chest. Additionally, it's a good complement to the rows that we were doing. Help you get stronger in all that position. So what we're doing right now is really more of an accessory type of exercise than a main lift, right? Sure, getting strong in these areas is going to be a huge thing, but the priority is good form and good tempo. It's not how much you can lift. All right, so I'm going to be start off with my incline press, then I'm going to immediately go into the rear delt rows. Now when I'm doing this incline press, all right, I'm not straight out. I like to turn my hands a little bit so I still get that downward motion with my elbows, like I'm bringing them into my side rather than my elbows flaring out. This takes a lot of pressure off the shoulder, especially the rotator cuff and the anterior delt. So those are good things to keep in mind, hand position and stuff like that. And as I'm going up, I bring it down and I feel my back connect with the bench. And then as I'm pressing up, I'm really squeezing through the chest. So as I'm feeling that and squeezing through the chest, I'm feeling it right in through here. Like I really want to feel that pec kind of gliding across, if that makes sense. All right, then I'm going to immediately go into the rear delt row. Get my position here. All right, and as I'm rowing, now I'm pulling my elbows out to the side because now I want to feel that more in the rear delt than I do in the back or in the front of my shoulders, right? You should almost feel like these dumbbells are like really dead weight. Like once I get to the high point here, the shoulder's taking most of the weight here. So I want to make sure that I'm feeling it right back in here as I'm pulling back. I'm not trying to go as far as I can, but I want to bring it up to definitely parallel. If I start feeling that trembling, as long as there's no pain, that can be a good thing. It means you're getting deeper into the muscle belly. So keep that in mind as you're lifting. If you get a little shaking, as long as there's no pain and you don't feel like you're losing control, you're getting deeper in that muscle belly, and it can feel pretty good to kind of get there. And that's good when you're building up strength. The deeper we can get into the muscle, the more fibers we're connecting with. All right, one more to go. All right, last exercise we're doing is the exercise ball rollout. All right, so you're going to be kneeling in front of the ball, and you're going to stick your butt back. All right, and I like to kneel on the ball, what I call a prayer position. Right, so my hands are folded, my arms are just kind of resting on here. When you do this exercise, I want you to remember that it's entirely through the hips. The arms are not reaching. The arms are not pulling back. The arms are just resting on the ball, going along for the ride. As you'll see, my elbows never really leave the ball. My hands will go up, my arms will go up. But again, they're going along for the ride. I'm not really using any muscle for this. It's more of an isolation type of move where my lats my shoulders and my triceps are kind of giving me support versus doing any of the movement itself. The movement entirely comes from the hips, where I go out, find that catch point of the core, and then I pull back through the hips. So I'll demonstrate here. So I roll out till I find my core catch, and then I pull back. My arms aren't moving at all. It's all through the hips and bringing it back. Press forward through the hips. Use the glutes and lower back to support, as well as my lower core. And as I get to this point here, right, I'm really keeping my feet on the ground and pulling back. Two things you don't want to do. One, you don't want to bring up your feet because you're really making it too easy at that point. All right, and second thing then is if you can't keep your feet on the ground, you have to go to a point where you can support yourself. So if it's right here for the time being, that's where it is. The other thing you don't want to do is roll all the way out until you're like down on the ground like that. One, you're putting strain on your lower back. Two, your core's not even engaged at this point. It's just a weird stretch. So it's all about the control, the muscle controlling everything, keeping yourself steady and stable. So while the hips are moving, the core is being supported, the back is being supported, the legs, the hamstrings, it's all connected because you're using yourself as support and stability while your hips are pressing forward. All right? In terms of feeling it, you definitely should feel it in the lower abs more than anywhere else. But as you do it more and more, you'll notice that you feel it throughout the entire body, which is what makes it such a great core exercise. All right, that's it for chest day. I will be back to you again on squat day. Have a good one.